Meta's Chief Technology Officer Andrew Bosworth took to Instagram to answer some of our questions about Project Cambria and the future of Quest.
Yes, Project Cambria, which we've leaked a little more information about this week. Still, all the details aren't out there yet. Will be available for consumers to buy. It's going to be a pricey headset. Again, we're packing a ton of next generation tech in there. We're certainly trying to pioneer, especially on things like color, pass-through, mixed reality. But yeah, it's going to be available for consumers who want to buy it. We can't wait. I don't think I'm giving anything too much away when I say that it is part of the Quest ecosystem, which means that, it's going to work with airlink. It's still a standalone headset, but will work with airlink and with Oculus Link cables, just like its predecessors have, for sure. It's really a question for people to answer for themselves. I think there's going to be a lot of use cases where having more authentic pass-through is going to be a big deal. I think especially for if you're doing productivity work, being able to see your keyboard and your coffee mug and things is a huge deal, and certainly being able to see, if somebody's entering the room or is in your vision. So I think it's a potentially big deal. Certainly for developers, I think we're going to see a lot of creativity in how to deploy this, both for entertainment and productivity use cases. So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm not sure what true MR headset means. I can tell you we've got, way better cameras. So both RGB and black and white cameras working in conjunction to do color pass-through. We're using active instead of just passive. So we're using infrared beams to make sure that we have depth sensing that allows us to have a better reconstruction of the image. Obviously, I think most people know that when you're doing color pass-through, you have to kind of reproject the world because the cameras don't line up, both not with just with your pupils in line, but also the depth is offset. So you do a reprojection. So there's a lot of work that goes into making it feel good. If you've used the pass-through on Quest or Quest 2, this is something else. This is something different. It's exciting. I really see this as a false dichotomy. I think, the watchword for me for the metaverse is continuity, the ability to take people and objects with you from place to place. And I think that's something that we want to be able to do, certainly between VR and AR. Virtual objects as useful in VR as they could be in AR. I think certainly, having somebody who you're in a VR experience with and then transitioning to seeing an AR hologram of them seems pretty cool and straightforward. So that doesn't mean everything is compatible everywhere. That's not even true in the physical world. There's things that I'm not allowed to take with me to other places. Or practically, it's not practical to do so. But I do think we don't doubt that we're all part of the same physical space. So I think the same will be true for virtual objects. I don't know, I thought it was just funny. It was really fun. It's just a quirky, cool thing. Luke Hurd made the funniest Spark AR effect, where you too can have a blurred out Cambria on your face. We'll reveal more details pretty soon. Some of my questions are clearly intended kind of as a little bit jabby, but I actually like them because it's good to see what, my malcontents are my people. That's how I work. I'm never satisfied, and neither should you be. Why should you be? Here's the thing that I'm going to tell you. Certainly we're working on multiple generations of headsets, of course, that's no surprise, but they're all going to be underpowered relative if you're comparing it to a PC, which has hundreds of watts to put to its disposal, or relative to a console, the same. Why? Power equals thermal. Thermal is a thing that we have to be careful of when it's on your face. We are actually even relatively underpowered on the same chipset to mobile phones because of the considerations that we have around how the device is used. So this is we have to work through as an industry. Having said that, I think we can still build great experiences, and I think we've proven that already with Quest 2, and we'll continue to do so with all the generations to come. Yes, this is still in the works, still on the way. One does not simply change the account structure. It turns out those data privacy regulations around how data is owned, how it's moved, how it's managed are of critical importance to how we work at Meta, and we're having to work through all due care and diligence as we make these transitions, but we are still working on this. It's still going to happen, so stand by. I think the answer to this question is yes in the short to midterm, maybe no in the long term. Why is that? Well, certainly you're right. Across the entire industry, not just at Meta, we're seeing the rate of growth slow down. we're not necessarily seeing things shrink, certainly not with ours. If you look at our earnings calls and look at what Mark has said publicly, we're still spending more on research and development at Meta than we were previously, even accounting for slowing things down a little bit in light of the kind of macroeconomic conditions. But we're also focusing more on the things that are really important. And a lot of times when you are throttle a little bit back and you're slowing down a little bit, you start to identify what are the really key areas and you invest more in those areas. So I think we will slow down a little bit in the 5 to 10 year view, but I think over the longer period, we might end up seeing that this was really healthy and cause us to focus on the right things and accelerate investments in those things. This is a great idea, and we should definitely be doing it. In fact, we're doing it internally with some of our employees already, and they're having an absolutely wild time with it. So, good point. In Horizon, we got to get the MAs moved over there. That'll be fun. I love this question, and it's one I really want to challenge everyone in our industry with. The privacy and security norms that are developed on top of the internet are almost incompatible with the foundations of the internet. And that's to our great benefit. The internet has been such a tremendous good in terms of giving people access to information and markets for the economy. And I don't think many of us would choose to live without it if we had the choice. And I suppose we do, and we don't. But those protocols, they didn't encode things like privacy. They didn't encode those things. We had to build those on top. And this is a very top of mind thought for me as we think about the metaverse. We want to be able to make strong guarantees and assurances around content and safety and security, but also want to empower entrepreneurs to do things that we never thought possible. Yeah, we've talked about this before. We really want to have a headset that allows us to advance the state of the art, gives developers something to play with as we look towards the future of what virtual reality will be for people who have more money and are doing things like productivity and collaboration and can afford a higher price point. But we also want to have a headset that's accessible, that brings this to the masses. And Quest 2 is that. It's going to continue to be that. So it's going to stay in market even after Project Cambria launches. And it's going to continue to be a phenomenal value and a great experience for those who choose to purchase one.
I will give the Boss 2.0 some credit. He did answer some questions that a lot of people probably would have swiped left on. What questions do you have about the future of the Quest and Project Cambria? Let's hash it out in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next Quickie.